What do you make of the reaction and the actual numbers?
It's very interesting. I mean, the earnings per share beat is obviously much bigger than had been expected, but David obviously mentioned that range, so it really was a sense of analysts not really knowing, I think, what to expect. Everybody thought comp sales were going to be pretty bad. They pre-announced the 9-week holiday period of sales last month, saying they had fallen some 3.5%. We're seeing, in terms of the stock reaction, it's coming back down. I think, as you mentioned as well, Alex, it's going to be all about the outlook, especially what we get from the relatively new CEO, Jill Soltau, on the call. That's at 8:30. Analysts have been liking some of the moves that she's been making in trying to turn around JCPenney. Some would say finally she's sort of retrenching, sort of getting rid of only selling household goods online. They're no longer going to sell big appliances, really focusing on women's apparel, which is the core for JCPenney. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Also store closures. They've been cutting them, but they still have some 864 stores.
Yeah, we hear that so much about department stores. Just close some stores and let's retrench.
Exactly.
But does that amount to a strategy that'll take us forward? Does the street believe this?
Well, I think they want this more detail. They've had a little bit since Jill Soltau took over from Marvin Ellison, who now runs Lowe's, incidentally. So they want to see what is the greater, what the strategy is going to be forward. But definitely closing stores is seen as extremely important. Also looking at e-commerce, of course, is about 10% of overall share of revenue for sales for JCPenney. So what they're doing there as well is going to be pretty interesting.
What is the low-hanging fruit they still have?
In terms of
just what levers can they pull quickly, and then what are the harder levers to pull?
So I think it is closing stores is definitely something that they can do quickly. I think it is really trying to get rid of. They have a huge backlog of inventory at the moment, which is something that has put pressure on margins for them. So they need to get rid of this huge backlog of inventory, and then this focus on women's apparel. They need to come out with better options there. But so far, customers seem to have liked what they've come out with so far, so they need to improve that. So, Steve,
yep.
Just to take a look at the reaction, right? So you get pretty much the sales are bad. I mean, they're worse than expected. So are sales. Earnings are good, and there you see the stock jumping 10%, which leads me to like what's baked into earnings, and how do you like understand something like that?
I think this is the story of this earnings season, and quite frankly, if you're bearish, this has to be the scariest thing. Number one, I think what December was the worst month since 2001. There was not a month during the Great Recession as bad as December. And so I think what was baked in earnings season was an outright recession. And so if you don't see recession in the numbers, I think there's upside. When you think about the retail sector specifically, you know, that retail sales number in December was abysmal. And I think folks were worried that there was some, you know, kind of fundamental slowdown in the consumer. And the earnings reports have been okay. I mean, they're not great, but they're okay. And I think what was priced in was something much worse. The other thing, at a company level, look, experience still matters. Companies that can provide better experiences and innovation in product are doing better than those that can't.
Yeah, I will say there's one other headline that's crossing here. They've named a new chief merchant, Emma, and there's some other senior staff. And I wonder whether that may be causing the street to say, well, really, they are getting their act together. They have a new team coming in to try to execute on the strategy you described.
Yes, absolutely. And you would think a new chief merchant would be the one who could do that when it comes to looking at what is actually being sold in stores. So perhaps a good reaction to that, definitely. And this idea perhaps that you are seeing this change in the team, and a new team can really drive the change or drive a turnaround for them.